I transmigrated into an old cliché novel as the wealthy evil mother-in-law. My CEO's son brought the innocent female lead in front of me. He threatened to break off his engagement with his fiancée of 5 years. I looked at my future daughter-in-law. Her face was exactly identical to my best friend in reality. I sneered and slapped him across the face. Then get lost. Whoever marries Chloe will be the heir to the Sterling Corporation. This all started 3 months ago. Before transmigrating into the novel, I was just a struggling worker trying to make ends meet. When I realized I had become the male lead's mother, I was lying on a huge, luxurious bed. Outside the window was an endless estate. I could use expensive cosmetics generously. I could wear a different designer dress every day from the walk-in closet. My face in the mirror was extremely well maintained. The most important part was that my husband had already passed away. Is there anything more wonderful in this world? Unfortunately, life always has its ups and downs. While I was enjoying a spa treatment in the sun, a girl ran in crying loudly. "Mrs. Sterling, Charles is cheating on me." That was not the main point. The main point was that she looked exactly like my best friend. Even the mole at the end of her eyebrow was in the same spot. I instantly became furious. I ordered the servants to prepare the car. I aggressively took her straight to the company. Sure enough, my good son had someone pinned against the wall of his office. His shirt was unbuttoned down to the 3rd button. Seeing someone arrive, the girl panicked and hid in his embrace. She cried pitifully, "Mr. Sterling, Miss Clark is here. Please don't do this." I stepped forward in my high heels and pulled them apart. "Why didn't you mention that the madam is here too? What, not working properly during office hours and messing around instead? Mom, why are you messing around with Chloe?" Charles frowned and shielded the girl behind him. Lily and I were just discussing some matters. Messing around. Chloe was both angry and wronged. You were almost discussing it in bed. She is just an intern. I told you to fire her. Did you hear me? I didn't do anything wrong. Why does Miss Clark want to fire me? Is the company yours to control alone? Tears shimmered in the girl's eyes. Her slightly swollen lips were pressed tightly together. The CEO's gaze instantly turned heartbroken. "Don't listen to her. I won't let you go." Ahem. Just then, a refined man with gold-rimmed glasses at the door raised his hand. "Well, Lily White has broken 8 coffee cups and 2 tea sets this month. She drove away an investor. She even broke the USB drive containing company data. Her overall performance score is 0. Looking at the female lead's awkward expression, I almost burst out laughing. Although my CEO's son was not entirely sensible, he usually respected me. Under my threatening gaze, he reluctantly promised to stop seeing Lily White. But I knew the plot well. I knew they would not end things so easily. Chloe was hopelessly romantic. After hearing a few soft words, she happily forgave him. I felt so frustrated that she wasn't standing up for herself. I decided to drag her to watch television together. Chloe looked confusedly at the tragic romance playing on the huge LCD screen. "Mrs. Sterling, why are you suddenly watching this?" I pointed at the ragged female lead on screen. "Do you see that? This is what happens when you give up your brain for love. You end up waiting in a miserable shack for 18 years. Chloe was speechless. The plot point arrived quickly. My good son held the innocent girl's hand. He placed a pregnancy test on the crystal table in front of me. I am going to break the engagement with Chloe. Lily is my true love. Fortunately, I was the evil mother-in-law. Smack. I slapped the scumbag's handsome face with all my might. How can you do this to Chloe? She gave you her entire youth. As long as I am alive, no other woman will ever enter the Sterling family. I don't want anyone except Lily. If you don't want to see us, Mom, I'll visit less often from now on." I sneered. "Then get lost. Whoever marries Chloe will be the heir to the Sterling Corporation." Hearing this, Charles turned his head in shock. He looked at me in disbelief. Mom, I'm your biological son. Didn't you want to hold a grandchild the most? The woman beside him supported him. She bit her lip with slightly red eyes. She raised her delicate face and said, Madam, you may not accept me, but you cannot insult us like this. I was confused. How did I insult you? A girl as gorgeous as a rose was sitting on the sofa. She glared fiercely at the two people kneeling on the floor. How am I inferior to her? Lily is cute and kind. Unlike your princess temper, arrogant and overbearing. Smack. I slapped the scummy son again. Seeing the two symmetrical handprints on his face made me feel instantly refreshed. If I knew you would be so blind, I should have shoved you back in and remade you. Assistant Wright, have the bodyguards throw all of Charles's things out. I blew on my newly done red manicure. I spoke arrogantly. From today on, you will not get a single penny of the Sterling family's money. Cancel all his supplementary black cards. Yes, madam. Assistant Wright was the refined man who spoke that day. I found him pleasing to the eye, so I promoted him to work by my side. Over a dozen muscular bodyguards in black rushed in. They threw the luggage out, along with the two people. It was raining heavily outside. The formerly dominant CEO now looked completely miserable. Mom, just you wait. I will definitely prove to you how wonderful Lily is. That is entirely unnecessary. Inside the house, Chloe was crying her eyes out. My heart ached for her, and I hurried over to comfort her. Stop crying, stop crying. He's just a man. I'll take you out to party. Party for what? She looked up with red, rabbit-like eyes. I waved my hand. Assistant Wright understood perfectly and opened several red property deeds in his hand. I just bought a few islands and put them under your name. How about I throw you a huge singles party? Although Chloe was sad, she couldn't bear to refuse my kindness. She reluctantly agreed. Preparing the party would take a few days. To distract Chloe, I took her shopping at the mall. After all, shopping cures everything. If one bag doesn't work, well, buy 10. This mall was newly built by the Sterling Corporation. It focused on luxury brands and had exquisite decor. As soon as she entered, Chloe gasped in surprise. Wow, it's so beautiful here. I asked her if she liked it. She nodded vigorously. I'll give it to you. I casually instructed Assistant Wright. Tell the company that starting tomorrow, this section will be given to Chloe to play with. Any losses will be on my tab. Even someone like Assistant Wright, who had seen it all, gasped slightly. Understood, madam. I drank too much milk tea. When I came out of the restroom, I heard an argument from a nearby counter. I had my eyes on this necklace first. Why should I give it to Lily White? Charles, are you really protecting her like this? I'm your fiancé. Why are these two annoying people lingering around again? I rushed over, afraid that my silly Chloe would be bullied. I arrived just in time to see my good son push her away forcefully with a look of disgust. Charles shielded Lily in his arms. He lifted his perfectly sculpted jawline, exuding an overbearing CEO aura. Huh, how unreasonable. Haven't you bought enough jewelry? Must you steal everything that others like? And let me reiterate, Lily is the woman I love. You are nothing but a pawn for an arranged marriage. Chloe instantly fell to the floor. Her face turned pale. Fortunately, Assistant Wright helped her up in time. Charles. Lily looked up at him with a touched expression. She glanced reluctantly at the aquamarine necklace on the counter. Since Miss Clark likes it, let's give it to her. Having you is enough for me. What kind of deep affection are you two acting out here? How dare you bully Chloe? I instantly burned with anger. I swung my leather purse and smashed it at him. Unfilial son. Mom, why are you here too? Charles couldn't dodge in time and took a hard hit to his forehead. He seemed to connect the dots and spoke rather smugly. Is the company in trouble? If you don't accept Lily, even if you personally come to beg me, I won't go back. I was speechless. Overthinking is an illness. Assistant Wright coughed nearby. Well, mister. Sterling, during the few days you've been away, the company's performance grew by 2%. The silence between the CEO and his little wife was deafening. I smoothly added insult to injury. I'm here to accompany Chloe shopping. Who do you think you are? Chloe held onto my arm. She turned her head away, not wanting to see the intimate pair. Only the saleswoman nervously spoke up. Hello, does the VIP guest still want this necklace? Pack it up for me. My good son spoke up first. He confidently swiped his black card. Beep, the prompt said it was frozen. He swiped every single card he had. The machine still didn't show a successful payment. He couldn't bring himself to say, never mind. Facing the increasingly unfriendly gaze of the saleswoman, he was stuck. In the end, it was Lily who took out all her credit cards and savings to barely cover it. It was supposed to be a gift for her, but she ended up paying for it herself. The smugness in Lily's eyes vanished. Even her smile looked extremely forced. Charles. I smiled contemptuously. I told you, once you leave the Sterling family, you won't get a single penny. Since you are all adults, you must pay the price for your choices. Charles clenched his fists tightly. The veins on his neck bulged. He looked at me with hatred and left a harsh parting word. One day, I will take back the Sterling shares from your hands. My response was to randomly point twice at the merchandise in the counter. This one and this one. Looking back at the expression on Charles's face at that moment. Shall I pack both of these up for you? No. I patted Chloe's head, making her look up. I mean pack up everything except these two and deliver them to Miss Clark's house. Chloe sobbed softly. Mrs. Sterling, you're so good to me. The saleswoman was stunned. Lily was completely shocked. This was an inhuman display of wealth. Listen, Chloe. I used facts to teach her a lesson, taking a jab at certain people along the way. Only money is reliable. Relying on men is like expecting a pig to climb a tree. Neon lights lit up the newly developed island as soon as it got dark. Under the starry night sky, a spectacular fireworks show was taking place. After experiencing traveling by private jet, I couldn't help but sigh. This is true happiness. Chloe wore a black evening gown, looking charming and lively. As soon as she landed, she was stunned by the luxurious scene before her. She screamed, and then ran toward the young men dancing on stage. It's that boy band. That's right, my best friend Chloe was an avid star chaser, just like the Chloe in this world. With idols present, she had already thrown the male lead out of her mind. Mrs. Sterling, did you arrange all of this? I patted her reassuringly. This is just the appetizer. After all, it was a singles party. Besides the boy band, many high-quality handsome men and beautiful women were invited to the island. They were either exceptionally good-looking or very talented. In addition, I arranged a main event. The famous best actor, Chloe's #1 idol. But why hasn't he arrived yet? Assistant Wright beside me suddenly received a call. I turned my head and saw Lily White's pale face. He covered his phone and lowered his voice. Didn't we already agree on the terms beforehand? Hearing the best actor's name, I looked over and saw Assistant Wright looking troubled. Madam, Luke Hudson might not be able to come. How could this be? I said to add more money. Assistant Wright replied that Luke said he wasn't the kind of person who could be bought with money. I pulled out a few black cards from my bag and placed them in Assistant Wright's palm. Then add even more. Assistant Wright reported a string of numbers. The manager on the other end fell silent for a moment before his voice suddenly became high and loud. Rest assured, he is already on the plane and will arrive shortly. It's Luke, the best actor. When Chloe saw Luke Hudson, she almost fainted. Where was the sadness of a breakup now? She had completely fallen into the double surprise of seeing the boy band and her idol. She grabbed me to confirm repeatedly. Mrs. Sterling, is this a real person, or am I seeing things? The best actor was very handsome, exuding the charm of a mature man. He walked over from the other end of the red carpet in a black tailored suit. His face had sharp contours, and a slight smile made many young girls blush. He handled the crowd surrounding him with ease. Although the Clark family was also wealthy, Chloe had no control over the finances. So this was her first time getting this close to her own idol. And seeing Chloe happy made me happy. Unfortunately, some annoying people always had to show up. A petite figure in a maid dress stumbled out of panic into the best actor's arms. The wine she was carrying spilled all over his shirt. "I'm so sorry, sir. Are you all right?" The girl had innocent eyes, and her fluttering long eyelashes evoked pity. She pitifully covered her impressive cleavage. She pretended to unintentionally wipe the man's chest back and forth. "I'm fine." Luke frowned and asked in surprise, "Lily, why are you here?" "Oh ho, is this the second male lead setup?" A flush appeared on Lily's face. "I came here to do a part-time job to earn some money." "Luke, please don't tell my mother." Just when I thought Luke would agree, he pushed Lily away and said righteously, "That's perfect. My custom-tailored suit isn't cheap. Remember to compensate me after you finish earning your money, or else I will call your mother." Lily was completely confused. I was shocked, I was stunned. What a refreshingly greedy person. The sharp-eyed assistant Wright also saw this scene. He leaned closer to me and asked softly, "Madam, do you need me to go deal with her? Just in case Miss Clark gets upset seeing her." His eyes clearly screamed, "Silence her. Just settle her wages and fire her." I immediately stopped Assistant Wright's dangerous thoughts. Be a law-abiding citizen, understand? Speaking of which, since the female lead is here, why isn't the male lead around? Carrying my doubts, I sat on a bench in the corner. Just as I was thinking about how to enjoy myself next, a shadow fell beside me. It was Luke. A mocking smile hung on the corners of his mouth. "Well, Mrs. Sterling went to such great lengths to get me here. What tricks do you want to use to forcefully keep me as a sugar baby now?" I was completely confused. What exactly did my predecessor do? But as a rich woman, could I show weakness? I raised my head and glanced at him indifferently. "I am sorry, but this madam prefers younger men now." Luke was speechless. The man's face turned livid, followed by a cold snort. "That's for the best." And he emphasized, "Please tell your son to be more realistic. If he wants to poach me for his company, stop feeding me empty promises." "Oh, my good son started an entertainment company." I hadn't paid attention lately, but things were getting interesting. I pressed down on Luke's shoulder, hiding my brilliance. "How about this? You go over and ruin his company, and I'll give you something real. No one gets away unscathed after bullying my Chloe in front of me. She used to protect me, now it's my turn to protect her. Since Chloe was blindly in love, I would just deliver the person to her to play with." Luke's eyes lit up, looking slightly hesitant. "Are you not joking? Isn't he your biological son?" "Nonsense, of course he's not." But on the surface, I could only pretend to be sorrowful. Alas, kids are rebellious. If he doesn't suffer a bit, how will he obediently listen? However, to my surprise, the original plot suddenly took an unexpected turn. Not long after returning to the country, Chloe's father got into a car accident and urgently needed a blood transfusion. When the whole family was tested, they discovered that their precious daughter of 20 years had no blood relation to them. They followed the clues and investigated. They found out that their biological daughter was swapped at the hospital and adopted by a rural family named White. That's right, the true heiress was Lily White. The Clark family was dumbfounded. After all, their future son-in-law had recently caused a massive uproar, trying to break off the engagement for an intern at his company. Chloe's mother even specifically went to the neighborhood where Lily lived to arrogantly humiliate her to vent her daughter's anger. And now this girl who interfered in someone else's relationship was her biological daughter. By the time I rushed to the Clark family, Lily had already been brought back. Charles was also there, both of them failing to hide the joy in their eyes. The Clark family all surrounded Lily, asking after her well-being. It was as if they wanted to make up for 20 years of missing love in a single night. This is human nature. I don't blame them. But when I saw Chloe standing all alone in the corner with a lonely expression, I couldn't help but feel a bit of displaced anger. "Chloe," I called out, walking over with a heartache. "Why are you standing there all alone?" She paused, grabbed my clothes, and sobbed softly. She looked like a drowning person, finally catching a piece of driftwood. "Mrs. Sterling, I have no home anymore. Charles doesn't want me, and Mom and Dad don't want me either." Although Chloe's voice was small, the people nearby heard it clearly. "Mrs. Clark looked awkward. What silly things is this silly child saying? When did you arrive, Madam Sterling? Come sit over here." Lily wasn't to be outdone either. Her long eyelashes fluttered, and tears fell on command. "Sister must have misunderstood. It's all my fault. Blame me if you want. I thought Sister wouldn't mind. Child, you are the one who suffered. How could we blame you? Mrs. Clark hugged her with heartache and glared at Chloe. "Chloe, you need to be more sensible. Stop causing trouble." I held the girl's cold hand, hoping to give her some warmth. Meanwhile, I mercilessly retorted. "Shut up. Did you look in the mirror and decide you are a cup of bitter tea? And you, Mrs. Clark, you learned this face-changing trick quite professionally." The air fell silent for a moment. This time, it was my good son who stepped out to smooth things over. He was no longer asking to cancel the engagement. The reason was simple. Lily was now also a daughter of the Clark family. Since it was an arranged marriage anyway, marrying either one meant cooperation. The Clark family had probably already discussed this in private. They echoed his words. Everyone thought I would agree. After all, this was a profitable deal. The only one being sacrificed was an insignificant Chloe. Chloe, just grant them their wish. Lily also has Charles's child in her belly. Mrs. Clark tried to comfort her. Chloe's face had grown extremely pale. She trembled her lips, looking at her increasingly unfamiliar family. She couldn't bring herself to say words of agreement. I glanced at Lily's flat stomach. Calculating the time, it should be almost 5 months. Even if she was skinny, it was impossible to have absolutely no bulge. Something felt a bit off. But now was not the time to pursue this. Did you all think I was joking earlier? I stood up and slowly took a sip of tea. Then I clapped my hands, signaling Assistant Wright and the bodyguards outside to come in. They held stacks of property declaration certificates. They stood in a row, displaying them for everyone to see. "This madam has made a notarized will to acquire the shares in my hands and inherit the Sterling family assets." I slowly spoke under their shocked gazes. "The only additional condition is to marry Chloe Clark." There was another clause I didn't mention. If Chloe ever felt unhappy, these assets could be retracted at any time. Damn it. Charles cursed angrily. "Mom, are you crazy? What kind of magic potion did she feed you to make you do something so foolish?" And so, this negotiation ultimately ended unpleasantly. I didn't want Chloe to sink deep into this whirlpool. So I asked Assistant Wright to arrange for her to travel abroad and relax. Chloe just needed to be happy. I would handle the rest. Because I remembered a part of the plot where the female supporting character pushed the female lead down the stairs. This caused the female lead to miscarry. So I never doubted the authenticity of Lily's pregnancy. But thinking back on it that day, it seemed highly suspicious. So I found a famous private detective in the circle. I asked him to investigate the relevant information for me. At the same time, I went to an entertainment company under the Sterling Corporation. I asked the manager to bring the newly signed rookies over for me to look at. Only rookies without fame would seize any opportunity to climb up. But the manager obviously misunderstood. He revealed an expression that said he completely understood. He asked me in a low voice, "Madam, what type do you prefer? A fierce young wolf, a sweet young puppy, or a mix of both?" I was speechless. This old lady isn't here for amusement. I said, just have them all come over. These rookies were all quite good-looking, young, energetic, and extremely ambitious. From among these people, I picked out the unremarkable Sean Davis. Because his profile stated that he had rich emotional experience, he was capable of properly handling relationships with women. Go approach this woman, make her fall in love with you. Can you do that? I pushed Lily's file and a blank check toward Sean. Sean had a pair of amorous peach blossom eyes. He smiled in surprise and didn't hesitate at all. Rest assured, I can't guarantee other things, but I am an expert in this. However what? He pushed the check back and straightforwardly made his demand. I don't want money, I want resources. No problem. I nodded in agreement. Keep the money for your mission expenses. 1 month. I give you 1 month. If she remains unmoved after a month, you don't need to continue wasting your effort. If you need any help, contact Assistant Wright. Understood. Sean was a smart person. He asked nothing, knowing exactly when to keep his mouth shut. My good son had certainly arranged other women to approach as well. And what was my purpose? I merely wanted to see if the two were really as madly in love as written in the book. To see if they were inseparable. And conveniently, to collect some interest for Chloe before the good show started. A girl's 5 years of youth and sincere dedication shouldn't be casually trampled upon. Sean was not a good person. He was clearly an old, habitual offender. He packaged himself as a wealthy young master. Driving a luxury car from my garage, on a rainy night on the street, he orchestrated an accidental encounter with Lily. What followed was a fierce pursuit. He grasped the limits perfectly. He never seemed perfunctory, nor did he make people feel annoyed. He always appeared just at the right moment when she needed him, showing great care. Various bags and necklaces were given away like flowing water. The sneakiest part was that Sean also crafted a persona for himself. He played a love-starved person, unloved by his father and mother, to garner sympathy. Without a doubt, Lily wavered. But she still had Charles in her heart. Facing Sean's declarations of love, she neither accepted nor refused. She navigated between the two men with ease. The CEO had recently been busy with company matters. Inevitably, he had neglected her quite a bit. The turning point came on Valentine's Day. Lily sneaked to the company, originally intending to give Charles a surprise. Instead, she saw the new assistant acting ambiguously with him. That assistant looked pure and innocent, always clumsy. When reprimanded, she would put on a pitiful expression. These were all tricks Lily had played with before. She angrily questioned her lover, but she only received an impatient response from the other party. Enough. Why have you become so unreasonable now? That same night, after Sean accompanied Lily to drink, with her tacit consent, they slept together. When Sean handed over the photos, I was paying the private detective's fee. Just as I had suspected, Lily's pregnancy was a trap from the very beginning. A trap to solidly tie down Charles. The devoted second male lead was a doctor. He used his position to forge a fake pregnancy report for Lily. As for the non-existent child, they would just create an accidental miscarriage when the time came. Lily used the child to increase their time spent together. This allowed her to smoothly grasp onto the man. Otherwise, given Charles's extremely egoistic personality, he wouldn't easily break off his engagement with his fiancée of 5 years for a mistress. At this end, the CEO was still completely in the dark. Although he enjoyed the verbal ambiguity with his assistant, to a certain extent, he restrained himself. He was even secretly planning how to give his beloved woman a grand proposal. Under my instruction, the undercover little assistant submitted a perfect proposal plan to him. In a sense, my good son was also hopelessly romantic. Otherwise, he wouldn't have given up his position as heir for true love. Or perhaps he just felt secure in his position. It just so happened that Lily's birthday was approaching. The Clark family took this opportunity to host a birthday banquet. They prepared to announce to the outside world that this was the true eldest daughter of the Clark family. They had completely ignored that this day was also Chloe's birthday. Countless top-tier media and dignitaries appeared at the banquet. Although the Clark family was wealthy, they were still slightly inferior compared to the Sterling family. Marriage was a crucial step forward for them. Lily wore a customized pink princess dress. She intimately held Charles's arm as they slowly walked down the stairs. "This is my daughter, Lily, and also the future daughter-in-law of the Sterling family. Mrs. Clark introduced her to everyone. When did this madam agree to this marriage? I sat in the VIP seat, sneering inwardly at their smug expressions. Be as smug as you want. The higher you stand, the harder you fall. A huge projection screen was set up at the scene. It played photos and videos of Lily's life. When the time was about halfway through, Charles suddenly got down on one knee after finishing a dance. He took out a diamond, ring the size of a pigeon egg, from his pocket. He spoke affectionately. "Lily, would you marry me?" The good show had begun. Fireworks went off in the sky. What was supposed to form a heart-shaped trajectory instead turned into 2 letters. SB. I was confused. Assistant right beside me leaned in to claim credit. "I arranged this. Does madam like it?" I held back the corner of my mouth that was about to curl up. "Beautifully done. I'll give you a raise next month." Looking back at Lily in the venue, she covered her face in surprise. There was a hint of hesitation in her eyes, but it quickly turned into shyness and joy. Why is this so sudden? She slipped her ring finger into the pigeon egg diamond ring. She kissed the man. "Charles, I do." The venue fell silent. The applause that was supposed to sound after a successful proposal didn't happen. There was only the continuous flashing of media cameras. Charles stood there blankly, delaying his rise. His face turned from pale to dark. He looked back at the deep projection screen, raging fire igniting in his eyes. According to the proposal plan, it should have been playing sweet memories of him and Lily. But at this moment, what appeared were all intimate photos of her and a strange man. Although the crucial parts were mosaic out. As long as one wasn't blind, they could recognize who it was. Charles asked through gritted teeth. "Lily White, why did you betray me? Was I not good enough to you?" "What?" Lily turned to look at the projection screen, along with the crowd's gaze. The woman's beautiful face instantly turned deathly pale. It was mixed with a hint of panic. "No, it's not like that. Listen to my explanation." Smack, smack, smack. I clapped my hands, no longer able to hold back a mocking smile. "Son, is this the true love you picked?" You really opened Mom's eyes. Holding my phone tightly, I stepped forward in my extremely high heels. I slapped each of them in the face. Hiss, my hand hurts. The Sterling family's face has been completely lost by you. And you. Back then, you wanted to enter my Sterling family by relying on the child. Where is the child now? I printed several copies of the evidence of Lily faking her pregnancy. I scattered them into the air, looking at the expressions of Charles and the Clark family now. It could no longer be described as merely colorful. The media excitedly crowded forward. "Miss Clark, may I ask how you feel right now? Could you tell us who the affair partner is?" "Mr. Sterling, are you still going to continue the proposal? You seem to have another fiancé previously." Assistant Wright had already prepared tomorrow's trending search title. Shocking, the dramatic untold stories of wealthy families. Taking advantage of the chaotic scene, I quietly withdrew. The bell striking 12 rang out leisurely. I stared at the girl on the other side of the video call on my phone's screen. I spoke softly and gently. "Chloe, happy birthday. Did you like tonight's birthday present?" Having watched the entire process, Chloe's eyes welled up as she nodded vigorously. It made the small mole at the end of her eyebrow look even more vibrant. "Mrs. Sterling, I couldn't be your biological daughter, could I? Otherwise, why would you treat me so well? What nonsense are you saying?" I raised an eyebrow, and got into the newly bought Maybach. Without any image of a rich woman, I tore open a bag of potato chips. Maybe you saved my life in your past life. However, I've already found some clues about your biological parents. Get ready, return to the country in a few days to do a DNA test. Chloe thought I was joking. But little did she know, everything I said was the truth. I was busy looking up clues about Chloe's biological parents. I didn't pay much attention to the affairs between Charles and Lily. One rainy night, my good son suddenly returned. He kneeled at the entrance of the estate for an entire night. Before passing out, he even said a sentence to me. "Mom, I was wrong." He actually lowered his head and admitted defeat. I was somewhat surprised. After understanding the whole story, I learned that the former domineering CEO had all his pride shattered. His company had just started and was on the verge of going public. But due to the impact of the proposal incident, investors withdrew their funds one after another. The best actor he painstakingly poached ran away with the rookies. The company became an empty shell completely. Even when he lowered his voice to beg people he previously looked down upon, no one was willing to lend him a hand. Although my good son had some business acumen, the investors mostly looked at the face of the Sterling family. The double blow to his love and career made him completely collapse. As soon as Chloe returned to the country, hearing that Charles had fallen ill and fainted in the hospital, she couldn't wait to go take care of him before even putting away her luggage. I directly put on a question mark face. He treated you like this, and you still like him. How exactly do you cure a best friend's hopeless romanticism? Waiting online, so angry. Chloe answered guiltily. She touched her head with a hint of confusion. I've liked Charles for over 10 years. My life has almost entirely revolved around him. How am I supposed to adapt to not liking him now? Let's wait a bit longer. Hopeless. I waved my hand powerlessly. Go ahead, as long as you're happy. What's so good about this thing called love? Can it compare to the fragrance of money? Looking at my puffed-up face, Assistant Wright comforted me. Miss Chloe is already an adult. Perhaps you don't need to worry too much. So I decided out of sight, out of mind. It was just the right time to take a vacation and travel around. When I returned, I happened to bump into her holding another man's hand. She flamboyantly said to Charles, "Hello, let's break off the engagement." The foreign man had tea-brown curly hair. When he smiled, he showed a mouthful of white teeth. His eyes were as charming as green emeralds. His name was Julian. He fell in love at first sight with the fair-skinned and beautiful Chloe in a foreign country. By chance, they chatted and found themselves highly compatible. However, Chloe thought she still liked Charles at the time, so she refused his declaration of love. Julian was unwilling to give up his muse. He chased her all the way here. He persisted for a long time before finally achieving his wish. To my surprise, Charles disagreed. "No. Chloe, you're my fiancée. You cannot leave me." He looked pleadingly at the girl, as delicate as a rose. "Let's get married, okay? Only now do I realize that the one I love is you." "No." Chloe calmly rejected him. Her clear eyes reflected the hypocritical facade of the man before her. "You don't love me. You just went around in a circle and realized I am the best to you and the most suitable for you. You only love yourself." After meeting Julian, she finally knew. The difference between love and not love was so obvious. I was the only one on the side, sighing with teary eyes. This hopelessly romantic brain had finally cleared up. After Chloe's biological parents contacted me, they hurriedly flew over that very day. Both of them were university professors. Beside them was a highly familiar figure. Luke, the best actor. I asked in confusion, "What are you doing here?" Chloe's mother's surname was also Hudson. It couldn't be such a coincidence, right? He supported the two professors and nodded slightly at me. "I heard there was news of my sister here, so I accompanied my parents to take a look." Simply put, Luke was afraid his parents would be scammed. After all, over so many years, every time they chased a clue, their hopes were dashed. A subtle feeling rose in my heart. Later, I'll have to ask the person involved. What does it feel like when your idol becomes your biological brother? I handed over a DNA test report. Where is the child? After confirming it was real, Mrs. Hudson looked around excitedly for a young girl. Chloe hid behind the curtain, too timid to step forward until I pulled her out. Right here. Looking at the face that was identical to hers when she was young. Mrs. Hudson could no longer hold back and rushed over to hug the girl and cry bitterly. Mr. Hudson's eyes also turned red. It turned out that Chloe's crybaby personality was inherited from her parents. Luke frowned, turned sideways, and asked me, I've seen her, haven't I? Yes. I nodded with a smile. She is one of the administrators of your fan club. Luke was speechless. After Chloe finished crying with her parents, she looked up and finally noticed she had a brother. Hi, Luke said. She instantly rolled her eyes back as if she was about to faint. This must be a hallucination. I patted her face. Wake up, this is real. After the two professors composed their emotions, they finally told us the reason their daughter went missing. Luke was nearly 10 years older than Chloe. When she was pregnant with Chloe, Mrs. Hudson was no longer young. At that time, Mr. Hudson was busy researching a subject and had no time to take care of the family. One of his students harbored ill intentions and tried to steal his academic achievements. After failing, the student became furious out of shame. He sneaked into the hospital and stole the child. However, the one he took away was Lily White. Chloe went to the Clark family by a twist of fate. The matter concluded here. I thought that, after staying away from the plot, life would remain peaceful forever. Even though my good son would occasionally stare at me with a gloomy gaze. Then suddenly say, Mom, you seem to have changed a lot. Until the day Chloe and Julian were about to get engaged. A large truck rushed head-on as if it didn't care about its life. I have nothing left. I want you all to die. I saw Charles's hideous face inside the car window. I had no time to react at all. Subconsciously, I lunged onto Chloe in the passenger seat. I protected her tightly, just like how she used to protect me. Warm blood blurred my vision. I vaguely heard the ambulance and the painful crying around me. Mrs. Sterling, hold on. Don't sleep, we're almost at the hospital. Don't cry. If you cry, you won't look pretty. My dear Chloe, you have to live happily. I raised my hand trying to comfort her, but eventually, it fell weakly. Ring, ring, ring. The phone's incoming call ringtone sounded. The sun was shining brightly outside the window. The light refracted gently through the glass window. I jolted awake from the bed, panting heavily. It seemed like I had a very strange dream. I actually dreamt that I transmigrated into a book as a rich woman. I even cured Chloe of being a hopeless romantic. Hello. I answered the phone, asking groggily. Good sister, what's wrong so early in the morning? Sarah. A delicate voice came from the phone. I want to break up. This is the 18th time. This month you've said you want to break up. In the end, you never succeeded. I rubbed the center of my brows to remind her. This time it's for real. She seemed to have made up her mind, speaking with a nasal tone. I don't know why, but hearing your voice makes me feel so sad. Even sadder than when Matron Mary passed away. Chloe and I grew up together in the orphanage. All the children here took the surname Smith after the matron. Matron Mary was a very gentle person. She hoped we could grow up safely, with vitality as resilient as the evergreens. So I became Sarah Smith, and my best friend was named Chloe Smith. When I was a child, my personality was wooden and cowardly. When I was bullied, I didn't know how to fight back. It was Chloe who jumped out and chased away the people bullying me. Actually, Chloe could have been adopted. She was pretty, and many uncles and aunts liked her. But accidents always happen so suddenly. The pot in the kitchen suddenly exploded while boiling water. I was completely unharmed. To protect me, Chloe left burn marks on her hands and face. She was clearly the one who got hurt, but she turned around to comfort me. "Oh, stop crying, it's just a small scar. It won't affect my life." Was that really true? Then, why did the people who previously said they wanted to adopt Chloe stop coming? During the holiday, after the college entrance examination, Matron Mary passed away. The money she secretly gave us was only enough for one person's university tuition. I said I wouldn't go. She scolded me for being an idiot. "Your grades are better than mine, Sarah. You have to go, so you can make big money to support me in the future." From then on, every penny Chloe saved became my tuition fee. To save money for Chloe's skin graft surgery. I was always unwilling to quit this high-paying job I had, even though my boss was an incompetent fool who loved to curse people. On this day, I stepped into the office. I suddenly realized the boss had changed. It was a young man wearing gold-rimmed glasses. He looked very refined and spoke politely. He made people feel a favorable impression. Happy cooperating in the future. My heart trembled. I shook his fingertips and smiled lightly. Happy cooperating. Chloe's luck with romance was bad. Yet she was also a hopeless romantic. The boyfriends she met were either scum or loved to gaslight her. And yet she still couldn't bear to break up. I thought she would eventually get back together this time. I didn't expect her to actually break up with the scumbag. Sure enough, good things come one after another after leaving a scumbag. Not only did Chloe find her own family, but she also met someone who loved her. She would drag me to her new home as a guest. She would introduce me to her parents. "This is your second daughter, and I am the eldest." She would also constantly promote her brother to me. "My brother is so handsome. Will you really not consider it? He has money and looks, no exaggeration." Don't believe Chloe's words. A tall figure approached. His broad palm rubbed the top of my head. He took out $100 bill and kissed it devoutly. "Second sister, brother's only wife is money." I was speechless. He is very handsome. But who would have thought that this was a money-loving and stingy handsome guy? My boss somehow found out I went on a date. He drove his car downstairs to my rented apartment and waited for a long time. I walked over suspiciously and knocked on the window. "You didn't come to my door personally to force me to work overtime, did you?" He was wearing a white shirt and a black tie. A few buttons were undone. His wrist rested on the edge of the car window as he blew out smoke rings. "Sarah Smith, I'm not a bad person. Would you consider creating wealth together?" "What do you mean?" I pretended to be calm. He leaned out and pulled my neck down. His lips touched mine fleetingly, and his breath spread recklessly. "Be with me. Then we have to agree first. If our office romance is discovered, you pay the fine." I didn't show any weakness and left a few lipstick marks on his shirt. Then I picked up my bag and swaggered away. The days are still long. It's still uncertain who will be on top.